1 Introduction. Today, we will explain how the Syrian civil war began, how it developed, and its current state. This war, which started in 2011, has become a crisis affecting not only Syria, but the entire world. 2. Beginning. Arab Spring and protests. It all started in March 2011. Inspired by the Arab Spring in Tunisia and Egypt, the Syrian people took to the streets demanding more freedom and reforms. However, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's government responded harshly to these protests. The demonstrations quickly spread across the country and turned into a large-scale anti-government movement. Third escalation of clashes and the start of civil war. In the later months of 2011, the use of force by the military and security forces against protesters led to armed conflicts. By 2012, Syria had plunged into a full-scale civil war. Opposition groups began an armed resistance against the government. Many different factions emerged in the country, including the Free Syrian Army, Islamist militants, and Kurdish groups, the Fourth International Intervention, and the rise of ISIS. By 2014, the war had reached a global scale. The Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS, gained significant power in Syria, capturing cities like Raqqa. A U.S.-led coalition launched airstrikes against ISIS. At the same time, Russia directly intervened in the war in 2015 by supporting the Assad regime. Turkey, Iran, and Gulf countries also began supporting various factions. The Battle of Aleppo and the turning point of the war. In 2016, Aleppo became one of the most critical battlegrounds of the war. With Russian support, the Assad regime besieged opposition forces and eventually recaptured eastern Aleppo. This victory was a major turning point for the Syrian government. During this period, millions of people were displaced, and thousands lost their lives. Sixth, Turkey's intervention and the Kurdish issue. Turkey launched Operation Euphrates Shield in 2016 to secure its borders and prevent groups linked to the PKK from gaining power. Later, in 2018, Operation Olive Branch, and in 2019, Operation Peace Spring were conducted. During this period, Turkey aimed to establish a safe zone in northern Syria. Kurdish groups, particularly with U.S. support, played a crucial role in fighting against ISIS. 7. The Idlib crisis and diplomatic process. In 2019 and 2020, Idlib remained the last stronghold of the opposition. As a result of agreements between Turkey and Russia, clashes in the region temporarily subsided, but the humanitarian crisis in Idlib continued. Peace talks were held through the Astana and Sochi processes, but a lasting solution has yet to be reached. 8. The refugee crisis and global impact. The Syrian civil war has led to a massive refugee crisis worldwide. Millions of Syrians have fled to Turkey, Lebanon, Jordan, and Europe. With over 4 million Syrian refugees, Turkey hosts the largest refugee population in the world. In Europe, the refugee influx has caused political tensions and changes in immigration policies. While the UN and humanitarian organizations continue efforts to alleviate the suffering of the Syrian people, the crisis remains unresolved. 9th December 2024. Opposition victories and a new era. In December 2024, opposition groups in Syria achieved significant victories against regime forces. By capturing strategic areas in Idlib and rural Aleppo, they managed to reduce the Assad regime's control. These developments have the potential to change the course of the war once again. With the Assad regime reliant on support from Russia and Iran, its future course remains uncertain. Meanwhile, the international community is intensifying efforts to restart the peace process. The current situation in Syria. Although the intensity of the war has decreased, Syria has yet to achieve full stability. The Assad regime maintains significant control, but Turkish-backed groups in the north and U.S.-backed Kurdish forces continue to exist. The recent victories of the opposition suggest that the war may enter a new phase. The humanitarian crisis in the country remains severe, with millions of refugees still living in neighboring countries. 11th. Conclusion and future scenarios. The Syrian civil war has turned into a major tragedy, affecting millions of lives. A political solution is essential for the war to end completely. However, conflicts of interest between different factions and international interventions continue to cast uncertainty over the peace process. In this program, we have covered the Syrian civil war from its beginning to the present day. We hope this information has helped you understand the complexity of the war. See you in the next video.